My husband brought his mistress to my kidney failure diagnosis and degraded me for being too sick to be attractive. So I recorded everything, reported him to his medical board, and took the $2.3 million life insurance policy he didn't know I'd changed. But let me start at the beginning, the moment my life split into before and after. I'm Simone Hayes, 33 years old, black, marketing executive at a major Atlanta firm, making $160,000 a year, successful, driven, and for 6 months, inexplicably sick. It started with fatigue I couldn't shake, then swelling in my feet and ankles, nausea that made eating impossible, weight loss despite barely moving, brain fog so thick I'd forget meetings, lose words mid-sentence, stare at my computer unable to focus. I thought it was stress, burnout, maybe early menopause. Anything but what it actually was. My primary care doctor ran tests, found protein in my urine, high creatinine, low GFR, glomerular filtration rate, the measure of how well kidneys filter blood. She referred me to Dr. Rachel Kim, a nephrologist at Emory, a kidney specialist. Dr. Kim ran more tests, ultrasounds, blood work, a kidney biopsy, where they inserted a needle into my back and extracted tissue while I lay frozen with fear. Today was the day I'd get results. The day I'd learn what was destroying my kidneys. My husband Marcus was supposed to meet me at the nephrology clinic at 2 p.m. We'd always faced medical news together. That's what partners do. Marcus Hayes, 36, orthopedic surgeon at Emory University Hospital, prominent, respected, makes $450,000 a year putting broken bones back together. We'd been married 8 years, met in our 20s, built successful careers together. No kids yet. I'd wanted to wait until my career was established, and Marcus had always agreed. I sat in the waiting room at 2:05, watching the door, hands shaking, phone clutched tight. At 2:15, Marcus walked through the door. Relief flooded through me for exactly 3 seconds. Then I saw her. A woman walked in beside him, white, younger than me, maybe 28, beautiful in that Instagram filter way, blonde highlights, perfect makeup, bodycon dress, heels too high for a medical building. And she was touching Marcus's arm, intimately, possessively. I stood up, my magazine sliding off my lap. Marcus? Who is this? Marcus's face showed no warmth, no apology, just cold annoyance. This is Vanessa. She's a physician assistant at the hospital. She's here for support. Support? Marcus, this is my medical appointment, my kidney biopsy results. Vanessa spoke, her voice saccharine sweet. Marcus asked me to come. He said you've been very emotional about your health issues, and he needed someone medically trained here to help interpret the results rationally. The waiting room had other patients, other people with kidney disease, other people fighting for their health. All of them were staring now. Rationally? Marcus, you're a surgeon. Why would you need? Vanessa is my girlfriend, Simone. He said it flatly, matter-of-factly, like he was ordering coffee. Has been for 4 months. And yes, she's coming into the appointment with us. You've been sick for so long, always complaining, always needing something. I need support too, from someone who understands medicine, from someone who isn't falling apart. I couldn't breathe, couldn't process. Your girlfriend? You brought your girlfriend to my kidney biopsy results? Marcus sat down in the chair next to mine. Didn't look at me, looked at his phone instead. Vanessa's pregnant. 2 months. We're having a baby. I wanted her here because after we hear your diagnosis, we need to discuss our future. All of our futures. The room tilted. Other patients gasped. Someone whispered, "Oh my God, she's pregnant? You got her pregnant while I couldn't even finish. While I'm dying? While I'm sick? While I'm your wife?" "You're not dying," Marcus said, his voice cold and clinical. "You're just sick. There's a difference. And honestly, Simone, watching you deteriorate has been exhausting. Vanessa is healthy, vibrant. She reminds me what it's like to be with someone who isn't always in bed, too tired to function, or in the bathroom vomiting. Vanessa touched her still flat stomach, a small satisfied smile playing on her lips. Marcus needs to be a father. It's important to him, and he needs a partner who can support his career, not someone he has to constantly care for. A nurse appeared in the doorway. Simone Hayes? I stood on shaking legs. Marcus stood too. So did Vanessa. She cannot come into my appointment. My voice was rising, breaking. Marcus, she cannot. This is private. This is medical. She's a medical professional. She has every right to be there, and frankly, I need her there because dealing with your health crisis alone has been too much. Let's go. He walked toward the exam room. Vanessa followed. I followed too, in a daze, because what else could I do? Dr. Kim looked shocked when 3 people entered her exam room. Mr. Hayes, this is highly irregular. Medical appointments are typically— I'm a physician, Marcus interrupted. This is my colleague, also medical staff. We're here to support my wife. Please, just give us the results so we can discuss next steps. Dr. Kim looked at me with concern. We'd built rapport over 6 months of testing. She knew this wasn't right. But she also had a diagnosis to deliver. Simone, she said gently, focusing only on me. I'm sorry. The biopsy shows you have focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, FSGS. It's a serious kidney disease where the filtering units of your kidneys become scarred and damaged. I felt the words hit me like physical blows. I'd researched FSGS. I knew what it meant. What does that mean for treatment? My voice was small, scared. It means your kidneys are failing. Your GFR is down to 28%. Normal is 90 to 120%. You're in stage 4 chronic kidney disease, approaching stage 5, end-stage renal disease. End stage? I couldn't breathe. We'll start you on immunosuppressants to slow the progression, blood pressure medications, dietary restrictions. But the reality is, Simone, you'll likely need dialysis within 6 to 12 months. And eventually, a kidney transplant. I started crying. Couldn't help it. Couldn't hold it in. My kidneys were failing. Dialysis. Transplant. My life was ending. Marcus actually sighed. A loud, annoyed, put-upon sound. So she's gonna need dialysis. For how long? Potentially years while waiting for a transplant. The average wait time for a deceased donor kidney is 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years, Marcus repeated, of dialysis. 3 times a week, 4 hours per session. Yes. He turned to look at me for the first time since we'd entered the room. His face was hard, cold, disgusted. This is exactly what I was afraid of. You're going to be a full-time patient now, unable to work full-time, unable to travel, unable to function. Just sick, constantly sick, connected to machines, taking dozens of medications. Your whole life will revolve around staying alive. Dr. Kim stood up. Mr. Hayes, your wife just received a devastating diagnosis. This is not— Marcus talked over her. I'm a physician. I understand the prognosis better than anyone. FSGS is progressive. Her quality of life is going to be terrible. Dialysis is debilitating. She'll be nauseous, exhausted, cognitively impaired, unable to work, probably depressed. I can't watch her deteriorate for years. I have a career. I have a baby coming. I have a life. Vanessa added, her hand on Marcus's shoulder. Marcus needs to focus on our baby, on our future. He can't be a caregiver for the next 5 years. That's not fair to him or to our child. Are you serious right now? I was sobbing, barely able to get words out. Marcus, we've been married for 8 years. We took vows, in sickness and in health. And in sickness is too much, he said. I want a divorce. I've already consulted with an attorney. You'll be served next week. You can keep the house since you'll probably be too sick to move anywhere anyway. I'm moving in with Vanessa. We're starting fresh, with someone healthy. someone who can actually be a partner instead of a patient. You're leaving me now? Here? At my kidney failure diagnosis? When else would I tell you? You're sick, Simone. Really sick. And it's only going to get worse. I'm not signing up to be married to a dialysis patient for the next decade while you slowly die waiting for a transplant. I'm a surgeon. I save lives. I can't watch yours fall apart. Dr. Kim moved toward me. Mr. Hayes, this is completely inappropriate. Your wife needs support right now, not... Vanessa interrupted. You should understand. Simone, Marcus is still young, still vital. He deserves a partner who can keep up with his lifestyle, who can give him children, who can support his career instead of draining his energy with constant medical crises. I can be that partner. You can't. It's not your fault you're sick. But it's also not fair to expect Marcus to sacrifice his life for yours. I'm your wife, I screamed it. I'm your wife and you're abandoning me because I'm sick. Marcus stood, pulling Vanessa up with him. Sign the divorce papers when they come. Don't make this difficult. You're getting the house. That's more than generous considering the circumstances. Considering the circumstances? I'm dying. You're not dying. You're just sick. There's a difference. And honestly, Simone, you're not attractive when you're like this. The swelling, the weight loss, the constant complaining. I married an athlete, someone who ran marathons. Now you can barely walk upstairs without getting winded. You're not the woman I married. You're just broken. They left, just walked out of the exam room, left me sobbing with my kidney failure diagnosis and my shattered marriage. Dr. Kim sat beside me, her hand on my back. Simone, I am so sorry. What your husband just did was cruel, unconscionable. And I need you to know, this diagnosis is serious, but you can fight this. You're young, strong. You can survive dialysis. You can get a transplant. This isn't a death sentence. I couldn't hear her through the grief, through the shock, through the devastation. My kidneys were failing. My husband had abandoned me. My life was over. Or so I thought, because what Marcus didn't know, what he couldn't have known, was that I'd accidentally been recording the entire appointment. I'd opened my voice memo app before the appointment to record Dr. Kim's medical instructions. I'd been doing it at every appointment because brain fog made it hard to remember details. I'd forgotten to turn it off. Every word Marcus said, every cruel comment from Vanessa, all of it, recorded. And I was about to make sure everyone knew exactly who Dr. Marcus Hayes really was. I drove to my best friend Keisha's house in a fog. Couldn't go home. Couldn't face the empty house where Marcus had probably already taken his things. Keisha opened the door, took one look at my face, and pulled me inside. What happened? What did the doctor say? I collapsed on her couch. Told her everything. The FSGS diagnosis. Stage 4 kidney failure. Dialysis within a year. Transplant needed to survive. Marcus bringing Vanessa. The pregnancy announcement. Him calling me too sick to be worth staying with. Leaving me there sobbing. Keisha is a nurse practitioner at Grady Hospital. She understands both the medical devastation and the emotional cruelty. That motherfucker brought his pregnant mistress to your kidney failure diagnosis? She was pacing now, furious, and called you broken while you're fighting for your life? He said I'm not attractive anymore. That watching me deteriorate is exhausting. That he can't be married to a dialysis patient. Keisha hugged me while I sobbed. You're going to survive this, the kidney failure and the divorce. But first, we're going to destroy Marcus Hayes, professionally, personally, completely. How? He's a successful surgeon. I'm just a sick woman he doesn't want. No, you're a woman with a devastating diagnosis whose physician husband abandoned her at the appointment. That's not just cruel. It's potentially a medical ethics violation. Over the next week, while I started immunosuppressants and processed my diagnosis, Keisha helped me investigate. First, we listened to the recording together. Every word made Keisha angrier. Marcus, she's going to be unable to work, unable to function, just sick, constantly sick. Vanessa, he can't be a caregiver for the next 5 years. Marcus, I'm not signing up to be married to a dialysis patient. This is medical abandonment, Keisha said. Marcus is a physician. He has ethical obligations. Even if you weren't his wife, treating a patient this way is wrong. The fact that you are his wife makes it unconscionable. Can I use this recording? Georgia is one-party consent. You were there. It's legal. And it's damning. Next, I went through Marcus's home office. He moved out fast, left things behind. His laptop was still there. Password, our wedding anniversary. He'd never changed it. I opened his financial records first. Joint bank account statements showed $85,000 withdrawn over 4 months. I traced every transaction. Alignaba, $3,500 a month to Brookhaven Luxury Apartments, Vanessa's place. $15,000 to Atlanta Reproductive Medicine, IVF consultation and egg freezing services. Lily, $8,000 to Bye Bye Baby, Pottery Barn Kids, other baby stores. Lily, $8,000. $12,000 in ATM cash withdrawals, no explanation. $25,000 to the Saint. Regis Atlanta, wedding venue deposit. Parentheses. Marcus had been planning his exit for months, using our money I'd earned, to set up his new life with Vanessa. But the fertility clinic charge caught my attention. Why would Vanessa need IVF consultation if she got pregnant naturally? I called Atlanta Reproductive Medicine, using Marcus's physician credentials I'd found in his files. Hi, this is Dr. Hayes' office, calling to verify services for Vanessa Morrison. The receptionist pulled up the account. Yes, consultation for elective egg freezing and storage. Paid in full, $15,000. Egg freezing. Vanessa had been preserving her fertility, planning for the future, which meant her surprise pregnancy wasn't as natural or effortless as she'd implied. I kept digging through Marcus's laptop. His personal email was still logged in. I found messages between Marcus and Vanessa going back 6 months, not 4. 6 months ago. Marcus, Simone's health issues are really affecting our marriage. She's tired all the time, no energy for anything. We haven't had sex in 2 months because she's either too nauseous or too exhausted. Vanessa, that must be so hard for you. You're so vital, so active. You deserve a partner who matches your energy. Marcus, I married an athlete. She used to run marathons, do triathlons. Now she can barely make it through a workday without needing a nap. I don't know how much more I can take. 5 months ago. Vanessa, have doctors figured out what's wrong with her? Marcus, not yet. More tests. Always more tests. Honestly, I'm starting to think she's just getting old. She's 33. Women's bodies start breaking down. Vanessa, I'm 28 and I feel amazing. Strong, healthy, ready for anything? Marcus, I know, that's what I need. Someone healthy. 4 months ago, Marcus, I think I'm falling for you. You're everything Simone used to be before she got sick. Vanessa, I'm falling for you too. When are you going to leave her? Soon, once we know what's wrong with her kidneys. If it's something manageable, maybe I'll stay. If it's serious, dialysis, transplant, chronic illness, I can't be tied to a sick person for the rest of my life. I need to know the prognosis before I make my move. He'd been waiting to see how sick I was before deciding whether to stay. 3 months ago, Marcus, the biopsy is scheduled. We'll know in 2 weeks what's causing her kidney failure. If it's bad, I'm out. Vanessa, what about me, about us? If I leave her, it's for you. I need to know you're all in. That you can give me what she can't. Vanessa, I can give you everything. Health, children, a life without hospitals. Actually, I need to tell you something. I'm pregnant, Marcus. Already? We've only been together 4 months. Vanessa, when you're young and fertile, it happens fast. We're going to be parents, Marcus. This changes everything. Good. If I'm leaving Simone, I want a family waiting. A real family with a healthy woman. Strong. 2 months ago, Marcus. I've been thinking about timing. We should tell Simone at her diagnosis appointment. Maximum impact. Vanessa, won't that be cruel? Marcus, it's strategic. She'll be emotional, vulnerable, devastated by the diagnosis. It'll be the perfect time to establish that I'm leaving because I can't handle being a caregiver, not because I did anything wrong. If we frame it as her illness is too much for me to bear, people will understand. They'll sympathize with me, the doctor who tried his best but couldn't watch his wife deteriorate. No one will blame me for choosing life with you over slow death with her. Vanessa, are you sure? Marcus, positive. We do it at the appointment. I'll bring you. Announce your pregnancy. Make it clear I'm moving on to something better. She'll be too destroyed to fight the divorce effectively. Clean break. They'd planned it. Every word, every moment of my humiliation, calculated to destroy me at my most vulnerable. I felt sick reading it, but I kept going. More emails revealed Marcus had been accessing my medical records through the hospital system. 6 weeks ago, Marcus to Vanessa. Simone's latest labs are bad. Creatinine 2.8. GFR down to 32%. She's definitely heading toward dialysis. Vanessa, how long until she needs it? Marcus, based on trajectory, 6 to 12 months. Maybe longer if treatment works. But FSGS is progressive. She'll end up on dialysis eventually. Probably dead within 10 years without a transplant. He was tracking my decline like a clinical case study, sharing my private medical information with his mistress. Then I found something that made my blood run cold. An email from Marcus to Vanessa, 3 weeks before the diagnosis appointment. I've been thinking about our future. When we tell Simone we do it at the diagnosis appointment for maximum impact. She'll be emotional and vulnerable. Perfect time for a clean break. One other thing. I checked her life insurance policy through her employer. $2.3 million with me as beneficiary. If something happens to her, complications from dialysis, transplant rejection, infection, I'd inherit everything. With her prognosis, that's not impossible. FSGS patients on dialysis have significantly shortened life expectancy. I'm not saying I want her to die, but if she does while we're still married, we'd be set. Food for thought. I read it 3 times, my hands shaking harder each time. Marcus had checked my life insurance, calculated what he'd get if I died, noted that kidney failure patients often don't survive. Was he planning to leave me to die alone so he could collect $2.3 million? I called Keisha immediately, voice shaking. I think Marcus wants me to die. He knows my prognosis. He knows dialysis patients have shortened life expectancy. And he's the beneficiary on my $2.3 million life insurance policy. What? He emailed Vanessa about it. Said if I die while we're still married, he'd inherit everything. He's not planning to support me through dialysis. He's planning to abandon me and hope I don't survive long enough to change the beneficiary. That's not abandonment, Simone. That's something way darker. I need to change my beneficiary. Today. I called my HR department immediately. I need to update my life insurance beneficiary right now. Of course, Mrs. Hayes. Who would you like to designate? I thought for exactly 2 seconds. My mother, Dorothy Hayes, 100%. OP. Done. Change will be effective within 24 hours. Next, I found evidence of more ethical violations. Marcus had been writing prescriptions for Vanessa. Prenatal vitamins, Zofran for nausea, progesterone supplements, even Ambien for sleep. Writing prescriptions for someone you're romantically involved with, when you're not their primary care physician, violates medical ethics guidelines. I also discovered Marcus had a history. 2 years ago, a surgical nurse filed a complaint with the hospital HR claiming Marcus had pursued her romantically while she worked under his supervision. The complaint was dismissed after Marcus claimed the relationship was consensual and the nurse had misinterpreted professional friendship. But the file included a warning. Dr. Hayes is advised to maintain appropriate professional boundaries with hospital staff. and to avoid situations that could be perceived as abuse of supervisory position. Vanessa was a physician assistant at Emory, the same hospital where Marcus worked. If he'd pursued her while having supervisory authority over PAs in his department, he'd violated the ethics warning. I compiled everything. The recording of him abandoning me at the diagnosis. 6 months of emails planning the betrayal. Evidence he stole $85,000 from our joint account. Proof he accessed and shared my medical records without authorization. Prescriptions he wrote for his mistress. His previous ethics warning about workplace relationships. His email discussing my life insurance and shortened life expectancy. Then I called an attorney. Not just any attorney. Lorraine Mitchell, the medical divorce specialist who handled high-conflict divorces involving physicians. Her office was in Buckhead, all glass and mahogany and expensive art. Lorraine was in her 50s, black, sharp-eyed, immaculately dressed. I handed her a USB drive. Everything's on here. The recording from my diagnosis appointment. Emails between my husband and his mistress, planning to humiliate me. Financial theft, medical privacy violations, ethics violations, all of it. Lorraine spent an hour reviewing everything. When she looked up, her eyes were fierce. Simone, this is one of the most comprehensive evidence packages I've ever seen, and one of the cruelest cases of abandonment. Your husband is a physician who left you at a catastrophic diagnosis, who stole marital funds, who violated your medical privacy, who's potentially violated multiple medical ethics standards. We have everything. What can we get? Everything. 50% of all marital assets, including his 401k and home equity. Spousal support, especially given your medical condition and reduced earning capacity. Damages for emotional distress and financial infidelity. I'm estimating $800,000 minimum settlement. What about his medical license? That's separate, but powerful. We can file complaints with the Georgia Composite Medical Board for the ethics violations, accessing your medical records and sharing them, prescribing to his romantic partner, violating the previous warning about workplace relationships. The board will investigate. He could face suspension or permanent marks on his record. Do it. File everything. Lorraine smiled. He's going to regret underestimating you. Let's destroy Dr. Marcus Hayes. 2 days later. Marcus received notice of the ethics complaints filed with the medical board. He called me from a number I didn't recognize, screaming, "What the fuck did you do? A medical board wants to interview me. You filed complaints against me." I filed accurate complaints, documenting your ethics violations. This could destroy my career, my medical license. Do you understand what you're doing? I understand perfectly. You violated patient privacy, mine. You prescribed medications to your romantic partner outside appropriate doctor-patient relationships. You pursued a subordinate employee after being warned about boundary violations. You abandoned your wife at a catastrophic medical diagnosis. Those are all ethics violations, Marcus. I'm a surgeon. I save lives. You're trying to ruin me because you're bitter. I'm holding you accountable. There's a difference. If I lose my license, I can't pay you any divorce settlement. You're sabotaging yourself. Then you should have thought about that before you brought your pregnant mistress to my kidney failure diagnosis and told me I'm too sick to be anyone's wife. Marcus hung up, still screaming. The medical board investigation moved quickly. They interviewed Dr. Kim, who confirmed Marcus's behavior at the appointment was unconscionable and potentially constitutes medical abandonment. They examined hospital records showing Marcus had accessed my medical charts 47 times over 6 months, far more than necessary for spousal concern, especially since he wasn't my treating physician. They found his emails to Vanessa discussing my private medical information, my prognosis, my lab values. Clear HIPAA violation. They reviewed the 8 prescriptions he'd written for Vanessa, his romantic partner, without establishing a proper physician-patient relationship. Ethics violation. They interviewed the nurse who'd filed the complaint 2 years ago. She confirmed, Dr. Hayes has a pattern of pursuing women who work under him. He uses his position to initiate relationships. When I rejected him, he made my work environment hostile. 1 month after I filed the complaint, Marcus was placed on temporary suspension pending full board review. He couldn't perform surgeries, couldn't see patients. His $450,000 salary stopped immediately. Vanessa called me, crying. "You're destroying him. He can't work. How are we supposed to live? I'm pregnant." Maybe you should have thought about that before you participated in my public humiliation. I didn't plan anything. Marcus told me your marriage was already over. I have the emails, Vanessa, the ones where you two planned to tell me at the diagnosis for maximum impact, where Marcus said it would be strategic to frame leaving as him being unable to handle caregiving. You knew exactly what you were doing. Please, just drop the complaint. We have a baby coming. I have kidney failure. I'm starting dialysis in 6 months. I'm fighting to survive. Your financial problems are not my concern. I hung up. While the medical board investigation continued, I did one more thing. I started telling people. Strategically, the people who mattered. I sent the recording to Marcus's parents, his mother Diane, his father Robert, with a simple message. This is how your son treated me at my kidney failure diagnosis. Diane called within an hour, sobbing. Simone, oh my God, what he said to you. She said, calling you broken, saying you're too sick to be his wife. I'm horrified. This isn't the man we raised. I thought you should know who he really is. Can we do anything? Testify for you? Support you? Yes. Testify in the divorce about his character. Absolutely. Whatever you need. We're so ashamed. I sent the recording to Marcus's colleagues at Emory. 3 orthopedic surgeons wrote formal letters to the medical board. Dr. Hayes's treatment of his wife demonstrates a profound lack of compassion that calls into question his fitness to practice medicine. I sent it to the hospital's HR department with a formal complaint about Marcus's relationship with Vanessa. The hospital opened its own investigation, discovered Marcus had requested Vanessa be assigned to his surgical cases, had given her preferential schedules, had used his authority to facilitate their relationship. Both were reprimanded. Vanessa was transferred to a different department. Finally, 3 weeks after my diagnosis, I did something that made everything go public. I posted on social media. Not the recording, not yet. Just a statement. 2 weeks ago, I was diagnosed with kidney failure. I learned I'll need dialysis to survive, and eventually a transplant. At that appointment, my husband, a physician, brought his pregnant mistress and told me I'm too sick to be anyone's wife. He left me there and filed for divorce. I'm 33, fighting for my life, and the man who vowed, in sickness and in health, abandoned me at my most vulnerable. If you're dealing with serious illness, know this: you deserve support, not abandonment. Your illness doesn't make you less worthy of love. Go forth. It went viral in hours. Thousands of comments. My husband left me during chemo. You're not alone. Doctors are supposed to help sick people. You deserve so much better. Someone recognized details, realized it was about Marcus Hayes. Comments appeared. Wait, is this Dr. Marcus Hayes from Emory? Then news outlets picked it up. Prominent Atlanta surgeon under investigation after allegedly abandoning wife at kidney failure diagnosis. Marcus's perfect reputation, 15 years of building, crumbled in days. and I was just getting started. 3 days after my social media post went viral, Marcus's world started collapsing in real time. His name was everywhere. Atlanta surgeon investigated for ethics violations after abandoning wife at diagnosis. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution ran a story. WSB-TV covered it. Medical gossip sites picked it up. Marcus tried to salvage his reputation by posting his own statement. "My ex-wife is making false allegations because she's angry about our divorce. I've always supported her medical journey. These claims are defamatory, and I'm consulting with attorneys about legal action." He lasted 6 hours before I responded. I posted the recording, the full audio from the diagnosis appointment. Marcus saying, "I'm not signing up to be married to a dialysis patient." Vanessa saying, "He can't be your caregiver for the next 5 years." Marcus calling me broken and not attractive anymore. 3 million plays in the first 24 hours. The comments were brutal. "This is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. He's a doctor. He took an oath to help the sick, not abandon them. His wife is dying, and he brought his pregnant side piece to her diagnosis? Monster. I hope every patient refuses to see him ever again." Marcus deleted all his social media by midnight, but the damage was permanent. The medical board accelerated their investigation after the recording went public. 2 weeks later, they issued their findings. Marcus Hayes violated the following ethical standards: unauthorized access and disclosure of patient medical information, accessed wife's medical records 47 times without legitimate medical necessity, and shared protected health information with third party, Vanessa Morrison. Inappropriate prescribing practices, wrote 8 prescriptions for romantic partner outside established doctor-patient relationship, violation of previous ethics warning, pursued romantic relationship with subordinate hospital staff, PA Vanessa Morrison, despite 2-year-old warning about maintaining professional boundaries, patient abandonment, abandoned patient, wife, during critical medical diagnosis in manner inconsistent with physician duty of care, penalties, 90-day suspension of medical license, $25,000. Fine. 1 mandatory ethics training, 40 hours. Permanent notation on public physician profile. 3 years, supervised practice upon return. Quarterly ethics reviews. Marcus's lawyer tried to fight it. Claimed the abandonment charge was unfair since I was his wife, not technically his patient. The board's response: Dr. Hayes is a physician who understands the gravity of a kidney failure diagnosis. His decision to use that diagnosis appointment as the venue to announce his affair and demand divorce demonstrates a profound lack of compassion and medical ethics. While Mrs. Hayes was not his patient, his behavior reflects on his fitness to practice medicine. The suspension meant Marcus couldn't work for 3 months. No surgeries, no income, no patients. His surgical partnership at Emory dissolved. The other surgeons voted him out. Your reputation is toxic, they told him. Patients are canceling appointments. No one wants to be treated by the doctor who abandoned his dying wife. Marcus tried to get hired elsewhere. Every hospital in Atlanta rejected him. Your medical board record shows ethics violations. We can't risk the liability. Meanwhile, the divorce was moving forward. Marcus's lawyer tried to negotiate. Dr. Hayes will give Mrs. Hayes the house, $50,000 from his 401k, and $1,000 per month spousal support for 2 years. That's generous considering his reduced circumstances. Lorraine, my attorney, laughed in their faces. Generous? Your client stole $85,000 from marital funds to set up his mistress's apartment. He violated his wife's medical privacy. He planned her public humiliation while she was dying. We're not negotiating. We're taking half of everything plus damages. Marcus's lawyer. Dr. Hayes is suspended from work. He has no income. He can't pay. He has $850,000 in his 401k. He has $300,000 in home equity. He has investment accounts. He caused his own suspension through ethics violations. That's not Mrs. Hayes's problem. He'll liquidate assets and pay what he owes. We filed our counter petition demanding 50% of his 401k, $425,000, 50% of home equity, $150,000, restitution for stolen marital funds, $85,000, spousal support, $4,500 a month for 5 years, $270,000 total, calculated based on my reduced earning capacity due to kidney failure and dialysis. Damages for emotional distress and medical abandonment, $100,000. Total, $1,030,000. Marcus's lawyer called it unconscionable. The judge disagreed. At the hearing, Lorraine played the recording for the judge, then presented Marcus's emails planning the strategic timing of the announcement, then showed the financial theft, the medical privacy violations, everything. The judge, a black woman in her 60s named Patricia Lawson, looked at Marcus with pure disgust. Dr. Hayes, I've presided over family court for 23 years. I've seen terrible husbands, cruel men, selfish partners. But you, bringing your pregnant mistress to your wife's kidney failure diagnosis, planning her public humiliation while she faced a life-threatening illness, stealing marital funds to prepare for your new life while she's dying, that's a special kind of evil. Marcus tried to speak. Your Honor, my wife's illness was overwhelming. Your wife's illness required support, not abandonment. You're a physician. You understand kidney failure. You knew how sick she was, and you chose that moment, her most vulnerable moment, to destroy her emotionally while she was already destroyed physically. That's not overwhelming. That's calculating. Judge Lawson granted nearly everything we asked for. 50% of 401k, $425,000. 50% of home equity, $150,000. Restitution, $85,000. Spousal support, $4,500 per month for 5 years. Damages, $100,000. Total awarded, $1,030,000. Dr. Hayes? Judge Lawson said, you will liquidate assets to pay Mrs. Hayes the lump sum amounts within 90 days. Spousal support begins immediately and continues for 5 years or until Mrs. Hayes remarries, whichever comes first. If you fail to pay, I'll hold you in contempt. Marcus's face was purple with rage. I don't have that kind of cash. I'm not working. Then you'll sell investments, borrow, get a job, any job. You caused your own suspension. You stole marital funds. You violated ethics. You planned your wife's public humiliation. Now you pay for it. The gavel came down. Divorce granted. Outside the courthouse, Marcus tried to confront me. His lawyers held him back, but he was shouting, "You destroyed my career, my reputation, my life. Are you happy now?" I walked over to him, my dialysis access port visible on my arm. I'd started dialysis 2 weeks earlier. You told me at my diagnosis that I was too sick to be anyone's wife, that watching me deteriorate was exhausting, that you couldn't be married to a dialysis patient. Well, Marcus, I'm on dialysis now, 3 times a week, 4 hours a session, and I'm still standing, still working, still fighting, while you, the healthy one, are broke, suspended, and living with consequences. Vanessa left me. Did you know that? She left, said she couldn't handle the financial stress and the public humiliation. Took our son and moved back to Tennessee. I pay child support but barely see him. Everything fell apart. Maybe that'll teach you not to abandon people at their worst moment. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. What I said at that appointment was cruel. I was scared. I didn't know how to handle your illness. You weren't scared. You were strategic. You planned it. You timed it for maximum impact. You brought your pregnant girlfriend specifically to humiliate me. That wasn't fear, Marcus. That was cruelty. And now, you're facing consequences. I can't pay what the judge ordered. I don't have it. Then you'll figure it out. The same way I figured out how to survive kidney failure while my husband abandoned me. The same way I figured out how to start dialysis alone. The same way I figured out how to keep working and fighting and living while you called me too broken to be worth staying with. I walked away. Didn't look back. Behind me, Marcus was crying. Actually crying. But I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No pity. Just emptiness where he used to be. The next month, while Marcus scrambled to liquidate his 401k and sell investments to pay me, something else happened. The hospital where Marcus worked issued a statement. After thorough investigation, Emory University Hospital has terminated Dr. Marcus Hayes' affiliation effective immediately. The investigation revealed violations of hospital policy regarding workplace relationships, patient privacy, and professional conduct. Dr. Hayes is no longer affiliated with Emory in any capacity. Fired, not just suspended. Fired. Marcus would later claim this was unfair retaliation driven by public pressure, but Emory's investigation found he'd accessed not just my medical records, but had also shown a pattern of accessing records of young female patients, reviewing charts of women he found attractive. He hadn't contacted them or used the information inappropriately beyond the violations with me, but the pattern was there. Hayes demonstrated a pattern of using his access to medical records in ways inconsistent with patient care, the investigation concluded. This, combined with the ethics violations related to his wife's diagnosis, demonstrates unfitness to practice at this institution. No other hospital in Georgia would hire him after that. Marcus ended up taking a job at a medical supply company. Sales. No patient contact. No surgeries. No prestige. Salary, $85,000, less than a fifth of what he'd made as a surgeon. Meanwhile, 6 months into dialysis, I was surviving but struggling. Dialysis is brutal. Every session leaves me exhausted, nauseous, cognitively foggy. I've had to go part-time at work. Can't do full-time while doing dialysis 3 times a week. My quality of life is exactly as bad as Marcus predicted at the diagnosis. But I'm alive, fighting, surviving. And then, 8 months after the diagnosis, something unexpected happened. I got a call from Dr. Kim. Simone, I have news. Your mother called me. She wants to be evaluated as a living kidney donor. My mother, Dorothy, 58 years old, retired teacher, the strongest woman I know. She what? She's insisting on being tested, said she can't watch you suffer through dialysis when she might be able to save you. I called her immediately, crying. Mom, you can't do this. The surgery is major. The recovery is months. Simone Michelle Hayes, you listen to me. You're my daughter. You're dying on that dialysis machine. If I can give you a kidney and save your life, I'm doing it. End of discussion. But what if something happens to you during surgery? Then I died giving my child a chance to live. There's no better way to die. Dorothy went through the evaluation. Blood type, compatible. Tissue matching, excellent. Kidney function, perfect. Medical clearance, passed. Psychological evaluation, passed. 3 months later, Dr. Kim called with the results. Your mother is an ideal donor. We can schedule the transplant. I sobbed in Dr. Kim's office. My mother is giving me a kidney, after my husband told me I was too sick to be worth staying with. Family shows up when it matters, Dr. Kim said gently. Your mother is showing you what real love looks like. The transplant was scheduled for 1 year and 1 week after my original diagnosis. The week before surgery, I ran into Marcus one more time. He was at the hospital for a medical supply sales meeting. I was there for pre-transplant appointments. He saw me in the lobby, approached cautiously. Simone, hi. Marcus, I heard about the transplant. Your mother's donating. That's wonderful. It is. I'm glad you're getting a kidney, that you won't have to do dialysis anymore. Thanks. We stood there awkwardly. Then Marcus said quietly, I think about that day all the time. The diagnosis appointment, what I said to you, how I brought Vanessa. It's the worst thing I've ever done. Yes, it was. I was terrified of your illness, of becoming a caregiver, of watching you die. So I ran. I chose the coward's way out. And you brought your pregnant mistress to make sure I knew I was being replaced by someone healthy. That was Vanessa's idea. She thought it would make the break cleaner. I shouldn't have agreed. I should have told you privately, with compassion. You should have stayed. That's what you should have done. You're a doctor. You understand illness. You could have supported me. Instead, you abandoned me at my worst moment and called me too broken to be worth loving. I know, and I've lost everything because of it. My career, my reputation, Vanessa, my relationship with my son, my self-respect. I wake up every day knowing I'm the doctor who abandoned his dying wife. That's who I am now. Good, you deserve to carry that. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? I looked at him, really looked at him. He looked older, tired, beaten down by consequences. I don't know, Marcus. Maybe someday, but not today. Today, I'm preparing for surgery where my mother will give me one of her kidneys because she loves me unconditionally. Meanwhile, you're here selling medical supplies because you destroyed your own career through cruelty. That's where we are. I hope the transplant works. I hope you get your life back. I already have my life back. I rebuilt it without you. I walked away, leaving Marcus standing in the hospital lobby where he used to be Dr. Marcus Hayes, respected surgeon. Now, he was just Marcus. Sales rep, failed husband. The man who abandoned his dying wife. The transplant was the next week. My mother and I were wheeled into adjacent operating rooms. She squeezed my hand before they separated us. See you on the other side, baby, with 2 working kidneys between us. The surgery took 6 hours. When I woke up in recovery, Dr. Kim was there smiling. The transplant was successful. Your mother's kidney is functioning beautifully. You're going to live, Simone. I started crying. Tears of relief, gratitude, joy, grief for everything I'd been through. Dorothy recovered in the room next to mine. When I could finally walk, I went to see her. She looked tired, but was smiling. How do you feel? She asked. Like I have a future, because of you. You've always had a future. I just helped you get there. 3 months post-transplant, my kidney function was perfect. No more dialysis, no more exhaustion, no more nausea. I was alive, healthy. 3. The settlement money from Marcus, $1,030,000, sat in my account. I used $200,000 to start a foundation, the Second Chance Foundation, for kidney disease patients who needed financial support for transplants. The rest I saved, invested, built security with. Marcus's cruelty had funded something beautiful. 1 year post-transplant, I spoke at a chronic illness conference, told my story, the diagnosis, the abandonment, the recording, the survival, the transplant. My husband told me I was too sick to be anyone's wife, that I was broken, unattractive, not worth staying with. He was wrong. I wasn't broken. I was sick. There's a difference, and anyone who can't see that difference doesn't deserve you. Standing ovation. After the talk, a man approached me. Tall, black, kind eyes, maybe 38. Hi, I'm Jordan. That was powerful. I'm a transplant recipient too. My brother gave me a kidney 5 years ago when mine failed from hypertension. We talked for an hour about the transplant experience, the fear, the gratitude, the second chance. Would you like to have coffee? He asked. I'd love to hear more about your foundation. Coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into weeks of conversation. 6 months later, we were dating. My ex-wife left me during dialysis, Jordan told me on our 4th date, said she didn't sign up to be married to someone with medical problems. My ex-husband brought his pregnant mistress to my kidney failure diagnosis. Jesus, and I thought my ex was cruel. We both dodged bullets, and now we found each other, 2 people who understand. 2 years post-transplant, Jordan proposed, not with fanfare, just us at the botanical gardens where we'd had our first real date. Oh, I love you. I love your strength. I love that you survived something that would destroy most people. I love your scar. It's proof you're a fighter. Will you marry me? Yes. Our wedding was small, 50 people. My mother walked me down the aisle, the woman who'd saved my life. In my vows, you see my transplant not as damage, but as survival, not as a burden, but as a second chance. You love me, not despite my medical history, but including it. That's what Marcus never understood. Love isn't just for the healthy times. In Jordan's vows, we both know how precious life is, how fragile health can be, how critical it is to have someone who stays. I promise to stay through every medication adjustment, every transplant anniversary, every health scare. I'm not going anywhere. 3 years post-transplant, my foundation had helped 89 people get kidney transplants. Marcus's $1 million settlement had funded life-saving care for people who couldn't afford it. His cruelty had become my purpose. 4 years post-transplant, I saw Marcus one final time. At a medical conference where I was keynoting about patient abandonment and medical ethics. He was in the audience, working sales for the medical supply company. Had to attend to keep his job. After my talk, where I told the story without naming him, but everyone in Atlanta medical circles knew, he approached. That was powerful. Thank you. I see you're married now. Congratulations. His name is Jordan. He's a transplant recipient too. He sees my kidney transplant as proof of strength, not evidence of weakness. Marcus flinched. I deserved that. Yes, you did. For what it's worth, you were right about everything. I was a coward. I abandoned you when you needed me most, and I've spent 4 years paying for it. Good. I'm glad you survived. Glad you're happy. Glad you found someone better than me. That wasn't hard. The bar was very low. I walked away for the last time, leaving Marcus with his regrets and his consequences, because I'd learned something through kidney failure, abandonment, dialysis, transplant, and healing. Your worth isn't determined by your health status. Anyone who can't love you through illness isn't worthy of your health. And the best revenge isn't destruction. It's building a life so beautiful that their cruelty can't touch it. Marcus lost everything. I gained everything that mattered. He got consequences. I got a second chance. And that's justice. 6 months after the transplant, I stood in my newly renovated home office. The house Marcus had generously let me keep in his proposed divorce settlement, which I now owned outright after forcing the sale and buyout. The room was filled with files, grant applications, donor profiles, success stories. The Second Chance Foundation had grown faster than I'd imagined. In 6 months, we'd helped 23 people get kidney transplants, provided financial assistance for medications, travel to transplant centers, living donor evaluations, post-surgery care. My phone rang, a number I didn't recognize. Hello? Miss Hayes, this is Sarah Chen. I'm 34, stage 5 kidney failure, on dialysis for 2 years. I just got approved for your foundation's assistance program. I don't know how to thank you. Without this grant, I couldn't afford the transplant evaluation at Johns Hopkins. You're giving me a chance to live. I felt tears prick my eyes. This was why I'd survived. Sarah, you deserve that chance. We're going to help you through every step. After I hung up, I looked at the framed photo on my desk. Me and my mother Dorothy, post-transplant, both in hospital gowns, both smiling despite the pain. She'd given me a kidney. I was giving others a future. Marcus's $1 million settlement, the money he'd fought so hard not to pay, was saving lives he'd never know about. His cruelty had become my purpose. But I was still healing emotionally, still processing the trauma of abandonment, of being called too sick to love, of fighting for my life while my husband planned my public humiliation. Dr. Angela Morris, my therapist, helped me understand. You experienced medical trauma, compounded by intimate partner betrayal. Marcus weaponized your vulnerability. That's a specific kind of abuse. I still have moments where I feel defective, where I look at my transplant scar and hear his voice. You're broken, not attractive anymore. That's his voice, not truth. Your scar is evidence of survival, of your mother's love, of your strength. Anyone who can't see that doesn't deserve to look at you. The kidney disease support group I joined became my lifeline. 8 people, all young adults, dealing with chronic kidney disease, dialysis, transplant waiting lists. Devin, 35, who'd been on dialysis for 4 years. My fiancé left me 6 months into treatment, said she couldn't handle dating someone tethered to a machine. It destroyed my self-worth. How did you rebuild? I asked. By realizing that anyone who leaves during illness isn't someone you want during health. They showed their character. I learned to be grateful they left early instead of staying and resenting me. Tasha, 32. 3 years on the transplant waiting list. I'm starting to accept that I might die waiting. The average wait time is 5 to 7 years. I'm only at 3. Some days, I'm okay with that reality. Other days, I'm terrified. What helps on the terrified days? This group. Knowing I'm not alone. Knowing other people understand. Through the group, I met people with stories that made mine feel almost fortunate. Miguel, 28, whose entire family refused to get tested as potential donors. They said kidney donation was too risky. They needed both kidneys in case something happened. I'm their son, their brother, and they literally told me they value their spare kidney more than my life. Jennifer, 40, whose husband stayed but resented her. He didn't leave like yours did. Sometimes I wish he had. Instead, he stays and makes comments. We never go anywhere because of your dialysis schedule. You're always too tired for sex. I should have married someone healthy. It's a different kind of abandonment. He's physically here but emotionally gone. Compared to their ongoing suffering, my clean break from Marcus almost seemed like a gift. At least I knew where I stood. At least the cruelty had an end date. 1 year post-transplant, Jordan and I moved in together. He understood things Marcus never could. The anxiety around every doctor's appointment, the medication schedules, the fear that rejection could start any time, the gratitude for every healthy day. I take 12 pills a day. I told him early in our relationship. Anti-rejection meds, blood pressure meds, immune suppressants. I'll take them every day for the rest of my life. I have to avoid certain foods. Can't be around sick people. Have to be careful about infections. Is that okay with you? Jordan showed me his own pill organizer. I take 15. We can take them together. He got it, not as theory, as lived experience. When I had my first post-transplant health scare, elevated creatinine that suggested possible rejection, Jordan held my hand through every test. Whatever happens, we handle it together, he said. That's what partners do. The creatinine spike turned out to be dehydration, easily fixed. But Jordan's response showed me what Marcus should have been. 18 months post-transplant, I was keynoting at the National Kidney Foundation Conference. Subject, medical abandonment, when partners leave during chronic illness. I told my story, not anonymized this time. Full names, full details. Dr. Marcus Hayes, a physician, brought his pregnant mistress to my kidney failure diagnosis and told me I was too sick to be anyone's wife. He abandoned me in the exam room. Filed for divorce while I started dialysis. Told me watching me deteriorate was exhausting. The audience of 800 kidney disease patients and caregivers gasped audibly. I'm telling you this not for sympathy, but for solidarity. Because 22% of chronically ill people experience partner abandonment. That's 1 in 5. You're not alone, and it's not your fault. I shared statistics I'd researched. Cancer patients are 6 times more likely to be divorced or separated than healthy people. Women with serious illness are 7 times more likely to be abandoned by male partners than men with illness are abandoned by female partners. The sicker the patient, the higher the abandonment rate. Marcus told me I wasn't attractive anymore, that I was broken, that no man would want a dialysis patient. He was wrong. I'm married now to a man who sees my transplant scar as proof of survival, who takes his pills beside me every morning, who celebrates my transplant anniversary like a second birthday. Your illness doesn't make you unlovable. It makes you human. And anyone who can't handle your humanity doesn't deserve your healing. Standing ovation. 5 minutes of applause. Afterward, dozens of people approached me. My husband left me during chemo. My wife divorced me when I went on dialysis. My partner said I was too much work after my transplant. I gave them all my foundation's information. We have support groups specifically for people who've been abandoned during illness. You're not alone. One woman, probably 60, grabbed my hands. Thank you for saying his name. For not protecting him. For making sure everyone knows what he did. He tried to destroy me during my most vulnerable moment. The least I can do is make sure people know who he really is. 2 years post-transplant, the foundation had helped 47 people get transplants. My day job as marketing executive had shifted. I'd gone part-time at my old firm and was now working primarily for the foundation as executive director. We'd raised $3 million. Had partnerships with major transplant centers. Were lobbying for better living donor protections. I was featured in Kidney Health magazine, From Abandonment to Advocacy, How One Woman's Transplant Journey Became a Mission. The article included the recording. The full audio of Marcus abandoning me. Millions of people heard it. Comments flooded in. I will never see a male doctor again after hearing this. As a physician, I'm ashamed that someone in our profession could be this cruel. This recording should be played in every medical ethics class. Marcus tried to get the article retracted, claimed it was defamatory, that I was harassing him. His lawyer sent a cease and desist letter. Mrs. Hayes must stop publicly discussing Dr. Hayes and their divorce. My lawyer, Lorraine, responded. Mrs. Hayes is sharing her true experience with medical abandonment. Everything she said is documented fact, supported by recordings, emails, and court records. If Dr. Hayes finds the truth embarrassing, perhaps he shouldn't have behaved so abhorrently. We will not be silencing our client. The cease and desist went nowhere. 2.5 years post-transplant, I ran into Marcus at the grocery store. He was alone, shopping at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, clearly not working the surgeon's schedule he used to keep. He saw me, froze, then approached. Simone. Hi. Marcus. He looked older, tired. The arrogance that used to define him was gone, replaced by something that looked like shame. I heard you're doing well. The foundation, your marriage, your health. I am doing well. I'm glad. You deserve to be happy. We stood there awkwardly in the produce section. Then Marcus said, I saw the article, heard the recording played nationally. Everyone knows now what I did, who I am. Yes, everyone knows. Do you hate me? I thought about it. Really thought about it. No, I don't hate you. Hate requires energy I don't want to spend on you. I'm indifferent. You're just someone who was in my life once, who hurt me, who taught me what I won't accept, but you're not important to me anymore. That's worse than hate. Maybe, but it's the truth. I think about that day constantly, what I said to you, bringing Vanessa. I'd give anything to take it back. But you can't. And even if you could, you wouldn't. You did exactly what you wanted to do. Abandoned a sick wife for a healthy replacement. You just didn't expect consequences. I lost my career. My son barely knows me. I make $85,000 instead of $450,000. I'm a joke in medical circles. The doctor who abandoned his dying wife. My life fell apart. And I almost died on dialysis while you moved in with your mistress. I had major transplant surgery while you were planning your new life. I rebuilt everything from nothing while you counted on me being too broken to fight. Your consequences don't make you the victim, Marcus. I'm not asking for sympathy. Just, do you think you'll ever forgive me? Honestly, I don't know. Forgiveness isn't something I think about. I think about living, about the 47 people who have kidneys because of my foundation, about my husband who loves me through every doctor's appointment, about my mother who gave me a kidney when you told me I was too sick to be worth staying with. I think about my life. You're not in it anymore. Marcus looked gutted. I threw away something irreplaceable. Yes, you did, but you did me a favor. You showed me who you were. And you freed me to find someone better. Jordan would never bring another woman to my medical appointments, would never call me broken, would never abandon me because caring is too hard. He stays. That's the difference between a man and a coward. I grabbed my groceries and walked away. Didn't look back. 3 years post-transplant, Jordan and I got married at the Botanical Gardens. Small ceremony, 50 people. My mother walked me down the aisle, the woman who'd literally given me life twice. In my vows, I said, 3 years ago, a doctor told me my kidneys were failing. My husband at the time brought his pregnant girlfriend to that appointment and told me I was too sick to be anyone's wife. Today, I'm marrying a man who sees my survival as strength, who celebrates my transplant anniversary, who takes his pills beside me every morning and never makes me feel like my medical needs are a burden. You love me not despite my health history, but including it. That's what real love looks like. In Jordan's vows, we both know how precious life is, how quickly health can change, how important it is to have someone who stays through the hard parts. I promise to stay through every elevated creatinine, every medication adjustment, every health scare. I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck with me. We honeymooned in Hawaii, something I couldn't have done on dialysis, something Marcus said I'd never be healthy enough to enjoy. I snorkeled, hiked, lived, posted pictures with the caption, 3 years post-transplant. Living the life Marcus said I was too sick to have. Married to a man who sees my strength instead of my scars. Grateful for every day. 4 years post-transplant. The Second Chance Foundation had helped 89 people get kidney transplants. I spoke at medical schools about patient abandonment and physician ethics. Dr. Marcus Hayes violated every principle of medical compassion when he abandoned his wife at her kidney failure diagnosis. But he's not unique. Medical abandonment happens daily. Partners leave. Families disappear. Support systems collapse. As future physicians, you must do better. You must understand that chronic illness is not a character flaw, that sick people deserve love, that vulnerability is not weakness. After one talk at Emory, Marcus's former hospital, a medical student asked, "Do you think Dr. Hayes would do it differently now?" I think Dr. Hayes regrets the consequences, not the actions. He regrets losing his career, not hurting me. And that's the problem. Remorse without empathy is just self-pity. 5 years post-transplant, I got an unexpected letter. From Vanessa. Dear Simone, I know I have no right to contact you, but I've been in therapy for 2 years, processing what I did. I participated in your abuse. I knew Marcus was married. I knew you were sick. I knew showing up at your diagnosis was cruel. I did it anyway because I wanted him and didn't care about the cost to you. I told myself you were weak, that you deserved to be replaced by someone healthier. I was wrong. You weren't weak, you were sick. There's a difference. Marcus and I broke up years ago. He was exactly as cruel to me as he was to you. Abandoned me when our son was difficult. blamed me for his career problems, made me feel like his failures were my fault. I realize now he's just cruel. It's who he is. You didn't deserve what we did to you. No one does. I have a son who'll someday ask about his father. I'll tell him the truth, that his dad abandoned a dying woman and his mother helped. And I'll teach him to be better than we were. I'm sorry. I know it's not enough, but I needed to say it. Vanessa. I read it twice. Felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, just emptiness. I didn't respond. Vanessa's guilt wasn't my responsibility to absolve. 6 years post-transplant, my mother developed a minor kidney issue, reduced function in her remaining kidney. Nothing serious, manageable with medication, but scary. I don't regret it, Dorothy told me at her nephrologist appointment. Even if this kidney fails someday, even if I end up on dialysis myself, I gave my daughter life. That's worth any consequence. Mom, if you need a kidney someday, I'm 64 now, baby. If my kidney fails, I'll do dialysis. I'm not taking your transplanted kidney. You need that to live. But, no buts, I made my choice. I'd make it again. You're alive. You're thriving. You've saved 89 other lives through your foundation. One kidney was a small price for all that. 7 years post-transplant, I was invited to testify before Congress. Subject: Living donor protections and medical ethics in chronic illness. I told my story to a congressional committee. The diagnosis, the abandonment, the recording, my mother's donation, the foundation's work. Medical abandonment is a public health crisis. 22% of chronically ill people lose their partners. Many lose family support. They face illness alone because society has decided that sick people are burdens instead of humans. We need legislation protecting living donors. We need ethics requirements for physicians treating patients with chronic illness. We need to make it clear: abandoning vulnerable people has consequences. The committee proposed the Chronic Illness Patient Protection Act, requiring medical ethics training on patient abandonment, protecting living donors from job discrimination, and providing funding for organizations supporting chronically ill patients. It passed. The Second Chance Foundation was specifically named as a model program. Marcus's cruelty had led to federal legislation. 8 years post-transplant, I spoke at the National Medical Ethics Conference. Marcus was in the audience. Still working medical sales. Still required to attend for his job. I saw him in the third row. Our eyes met. He looked away. In my keynote, I said, 8 years ago, Dr. Marcus Hayes brought his pregnant mistress to my kidney failure diagnosis and told me I was too sick to be anyone's wife. Today, I'm here to tell you, I was never too sick to be loved. I was married to someone too broken to love. There's a difference. Dr. Hayes is in this audience. He knows what he did. He spent 8 years facing consequences, professional, financial, personal. But consequences aren't the same as accountability. Accountability requires acknowledgement, requires change, requires becoming someone who would never do it again. I don't know if Dr. Hayes has changed. That's not my concern. My concern is the hundreds of thousands of chronically ill people who face abandonment every year, who are told they're too sick to love, too much work, too broken. They deserve better. And as medical professionals, you must do better. After the talk, Marcus approached me in the hallway. That was powerful and fair. I haven't changed enough. I've been sorry I faced consequences, not sorry I caused pain. You're right about that. I know I'm right. For what it's worth, I am proud of what you built. The foundation, the legislation, the lives you've saved. You turned the worst thing I did into something beautiful. I didn't turn your cruelty into beauty. I turned my survival into purpose. There's a difference. You don't get credit for what I built from the ashes you left. Fair. I just wanted you to know. I see you now. Who you really are. Who you always were. And I'm sorry I couldn't see it then. I don't need you to see me, Marcus. I needed you to see me 8 years ago, when I was dying and terrified and begging you to stay. You didn't. Now, it doesn't matter. I see myself. Jordan sees me. My foundation participants see me. Your vision is irrelevant. I understand. I'll leave you alone now. For what it's worth, I'm glad you survived. Glad you're happy. You deserve it. He walked away. And this time, I felt something I hadn't felt before. Peace. Not forgiveness. Not reconciliation. Just peace with what happened. Marcus had been cruel. I'd survived. I'd built something meaningful. His chapter was closed. 10 years post-transplant, the Second Chance Foundation celebrated its 10th anniversary. We'd helped 287 people get kidney transplants, raised $15 million, changed federal legislation, trained 1,000 medical professionals on chronic illness ethics, created support groups in 35 states. At the anniversary gala, I gave a speech to 500 donors, volunteers, and transplant recipients. 10 years ago, I was told my kidneys were failing, told I'd need dialysis to survive, told I might die waiting for a transplant. And the man I'd married, the man who'd vowed to stay through sickness and health, told me I was too sick to be worth loving. He abandoned me at my diagnosis, called me broken, left me to die. I didn't die. My mother gave me a kidney. I survived dialysis. I rebuilt my life. And I decided that Marcus's cruelty would not be the end of my story. It would be the beginning of something bigger. This foundation exists because I survived abandonment, because I know what it's like to be called too sick to love, because I promised myself that no one else would face transplant alone if I could help them. To the 287 people we've helped, your lives matter. Your survival matters. You are not too sick to be loved. You are warriors, survivors, heroes. To the partners who stayed, thank you. Thank you for understanding that in sickness and in health isn't just words. It's commitment. It's love. You are why people survive. And to anyone facing chronic illness right now, wondering if you're too much, too sick, too broken, you're not. You're human. You're fighting. You're surviving. And that's enough. You are enough. The applause lasted 10 minutes. Jordan stood beside me, holding my hand, tears in his eyes. You did it, he whispered. You turned pain into purpose, trauma into triumph. We did it, I corrected. I couldn't have done this alone. That night, lying in bed, Jordan asked, "Do you ever think about Marcus anymore?" Sometimes, not often, not the way I used to. What do you think about when you do? I think about how he told me I was too sick to be anyone's wife, and how you prove every day that he was wrong. I think about how he said watching me deteriorate was exhausting, and how you celebrate every healthy day with me without resentment. I think about how he abandoned me at my worst, and how you stayed through every complication, every scare, every hard moment. That's not staying, that's just love. Exactly. That's what Marcus never understood. Love isn't just for the easy times. It's showing up when things are hard. You showed me what that looks like. 12 years post-transplant, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. "Miss Hayes? This is Marcus Hayes Jr. I'm Marcus Hayes' son, your ex-husband's son, with Vanessa." My heart stopped. "Hi, is everything okay?" "Yes. No. I'm 13 now, and my mom told me the truth about what my dad did to you, how he treated you. She played me the recording from your diagnosis. Oh, I wanted to call and say I'm sorry for what he did. and to tell you that I'm not going to be like him. My mom's made sure of that. She tells me all the time, "Your father abandoned a dying woman. Don't be him. Be better." I felt tears forming. That's very mature of you to call. I also wanted to tell you that I'm going to medical school when I'm older, and I'm going to specialize in nephrology, kidneys. Because of what happened to you, I want to help people like you to make up for what my dad did. You don't have to make up for his choices, I know, but I want to help anyway. Because reading about your foundation, about the people you've saved, I want to be part of something like that. Not part of destroying people, part of saving them. You're going to make an excellent doctor. Thank you. And Ms. Hayes, thank you for surviving, for not letting what my dad did stop you, for showing people like me that you can turn bad things into good things. After we hung up, I cried for 20 minutes. Marcus's cruelty had been so complete that even his son was trying to atone for it. But that boy, Marcus Jr., he was going to be different, better. He was choosing compassion over cruelty. That's how we break cycles. 15 years post-transplant, I received news I'd both feared and expected. Dorothy's remaining kidney was failing. She was 73, had lived 15 years with one kidney. But now that kidney wasn't enough. "I'm going on dialysis," she told me calmly. "It's okay. I knew this might happen. Mom, I can give you a kidney. I have two now. The transplanted one and my original failed ones are still in my body." "Simone Michelle, absolutely not. Your transplanted kidney is keeping you alive. You will not risk that for me. But you gave me life. And you've lived that life beautifully. You've saved 300+ people. You've changed legislation. You've built a family. You've done exactly what I hoped you'd do. I'm at peace with dialysis. It's a small price for the life I gave you." Dorothy started dialysis at 73. I went with her to every appointment, sat beside her, held her hand. "This is weird," she said during her first session. "You sitting with me at dialysis. Usually you're the patient. Now it's my turn to support you. I don't regret it. Giving you my kidney, even knowing I'd end up here. You've lived 15 years healthy. That was worth it. You gave me more than 15 years. You gave me purpose, showed me what unconditional love looks like." Dorothy smiled. "That's what mothers do. We give everything, and we're grateful we have something to give." She tolerated dialysis well, kept her sense of humor, kept her strength. And I made sure she knew she was loved, supported, never alone. 20 years post-transplant, I stood at a podium at the National Kidney Foundation Gala. I was 53 now, 20 years past the diagnosis that was supposed to destroy me. My transplanted kidney was still functioning. My life was full. My marriage was strong. My foundation had helped over 500 people. 20 years ago, my husband brought his mistress to my kidney failure diagnosis and told me I was too sick to be anyone's wife. Today, I'm here to tell you, he was wrong about everything. I wasn't too sick to love. He was too broken to see value in vulnerability. I wasn't defective. My kidneys were failing, but I was still whole. I wasn't unworthy of partnership. I just deserved better than him. 20 years later, I've outlived his prediction that I'd be a miserable dialysis patient unable to function. I've lived longer than he thought I would. I've lived better than he thought I could. And every day I'm alive, healthy, and happy is proof that his cruelty couldn't define me. To everyone fighting chronic illness, you are not too sick to be loved. You are not too much work. You are not defective. You are human. You are valuable. And you deserve partners who see your strength, not just your struggle. Marcus Hayes was wrong about me, and anyone who makes you feel unworthy of love is wrong about you too. Standing ovation. 5 minutes. Jordan stood in the front row, tears streaming down his face, applauding. My mother sat beside him. 85 now, still strong, despite dialysis, still proud. And I realized I'd won. Not because I destroyed Marcus, though I had. Not because I built a successful foundation, though I had. But because I'd survived. I'd been told I was too sick to love, and I'd proven that health status doesn't determine worth. That vulnerability isn't weakness. That survival is its own victory. Marcus had tried to break me at my lowest moment. Instead, he'd shown me my own strength. And I'd spent 20 years proving he'd been wrong about everything. The end. Closing. My husband brought his mistress to my kidney failure diagnosis and told me I was too sick to be attractive. 20 years later, he's a medical supply salesman still paying consequences for ethics violations. I'm the founder of a national organization that saved 500+ lives and changed federal legislation. He told me I was broken. I proved I was unbreakable. He said no man would want a dialysis patient. I married a man who celebrates my survival. He abandoned me to die. I built a life so full that his absence became irrelevant. To everyone fighting chronic illness, your worth isn't determined by your health. Anyone who makes you feel too sick to love isn't worthy of your healing. Survive, thrive, build something beautiful from the ashes they left. That's not revenge. That's resurrection. And it's the best victory of all.